Portia Mystique still here with the Hidden Vine inside Fresh Scoop Studio, and I have the absolute pleasure and honor of interviewing Temecula's newest mayor, Brenden Kalfus. How you doing, Brenden?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Good. Okay, Brenden, now I know a lot of people are like, man, I've seen this guy. I know this guy. He's the new mayor. Yes, he is. How about you properly introduce yourself to the city of Temecula?
Absolutely. Brenden Kalfus, your newest Temecula mayor. Born and raised in Temecula, been here since 1991. I went to Hillcrest Academy Elementary School, which is no longer a school here in Temecula, and then went to Vail Ranch Middle School, Temecula Valley High School. So born and raised here, homegrown Temecula'n, and now I'm lucky enough to raise my 5 kids here with my wife, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be your mayor, excited to get to know everyone in the city and tell you a little about myself.
Okay. Now, I know what's interesting is that this conversation that we're going to have now, we're winging this. We have no idea where this is going. None of the answers or questions are prepped. We're just having a good time, a good old conversation, right?
That's the best, yes.
Okay, perfect. Because, of course, the first thing I'm thinking is, why in the world did you run for mayor?
I ask myself that all the time. And I've never been someone who's super political. I've always been very opinionated. So growing up, I always had a strong opinion. My full-time job, I'm a full-time firefighter. So that's my everyday job as a firefighter. And I have 5 kiddos, so we're already extremely busy.
Yeah.
But I think it was during COVID, my eyes really opened up to local control and how much effect our local elected officials have on our everyday life.
Yeah.
So I started to look into, who's on our school board, who's on our city council. And I felt that after I looked into it, that those people in those seats didn't really reflect the population in the current age demographic that we had in Temecula. And I wanted someone to be in that seat that was approachable, that was relatable, and that was really my kick to put my hat in the ring, if you will, for this position.
So when you found out you won, how did you feel?
Amazing. Yeah. So the individual I beat had been in office for over 17 years. Jeez. So when I ran, everyone's like, "Hey, at least you'll give it your best effort. It'll be good. You'll learn a lot." And I'm someone where if I do something, I'm going full bore. I'm going 100% in, and I don't like to lose.
Right.
But I played baseball growing up too, so I'm used to failing. So I was like, I use those failures as almost as propellers upward. But I gave it 100% effort, and I said, hey, if I do lose, at least I know that I did it the way that I wanted to, and I gave it my best shot. But I ended up coming out on top, and it was a great feeling.
That is interesting. I think that says a lot about your character, which makes me wonder, what kind of kid were you?
That's a great question. I would say I was the class clown. Probably the easiest way to describe it. Yeah.
Okay.
I was always really good in school. So like in high school and college, I always had a good GPA. I was an academic All-American in college, so I always had above a 3.75 GPA. Dean's List, all that stuff. So I was always good in school. But I was definitely like the funny kid, if you will. I always made people laugh.
Okay. And would you consider yourself to be that guy now? Are you still the funny guy?
Yes, I'm still that guy. But in this position, I have to reel myself in.
So when do you get the opportunity to kind of just be yourself?
That's probably the hardest part about this position is because, you go to the supermarket, you go fill up your gas tank, you go anywhere, and someone out there is going to recognize you. Someone's going to know you. So to be myself, I still go out with my wife and we go on dates and I go out with friends and I'm myself, but it's definitely different these days.
How do you handle that?
I think the biggest thing is it's been a great learning curve for me, honestly. In this position, I've only been in the position a little over 2 years. And I've already grown so much. Just listening to people, sitting down with people that I normally wouldn't sit down with and listen to what they have to say.
Yeah.
So I've used this position as a huge growing opportunity for me personally. And knowing that I don't know everything, and I actually don't know a lot, has helped me in this position to understand people and to listen to their perspectives. Because I may have had something that, hey, I thought this was what I believed. Yeah. And then you talk to someone and you actually open yourself up and like, okay, maybe what I believed before this is different. So I've used this position as a growing opportunity for myself personally, my personal life. And really just it's helped me grow as a man, as a husband, as a father.
That is powerful. Because it's interesting how a lot of people kind of just tend to live in their bubble.
Right.
But being in that position kind of forced you outside of it. So if we get really real, okay, how would you describe that growth? Like specifically, what have you seen in yourself that has shifted from just being firefighter Brenden to now being mayor?
I would say the biggest shift has been empathy. I have I've had so much more empathy for people nowadays. And as a firefighter, we go on, the transient population, for instance, all the time. We have a homeless shelter in our first inn, so we go on them daily. And going from that shift to helping people immediately, whether it's a medical emergency and we're taking them to the hospital right away. So doing that immediate 911 action versus now it's kind of big picture. So it's how do we help the homeless and the transient population as a whole? It's not just helping them today, right now, but helping them over the next 5-10 years to get a home. So I think that the biggest thing for me has been empathy towards everyone, though. And I always had, like I said, my beliefs and my thoughts and perspectives. But in this position, it's helped me grow and helped me have empathy for a majority of the population. And realizing that I am blessed to be in the seat that I'm in, but also I'm blessed to be able to listen and to be able to actually relate to people. And people can approach me. It doesn't matter what you believe in. I want to help you, and I want to make Temecula the best place for you.
So would you say that being mayor is effectively changing you as a man, as
Absolutely.
a human being?
I would say so, yes. Even more so than mayor, I'd say just the last 2.5 years as a council member as I've grown so much. And it's given me a position to listen and to help. Like I said, my full-time job as a firefighter, I help people right now, and then we don't always see the outcome. Right. So if someone has, say, low blood pressure, we give them fluids, we help them out, we bring their blood pressure up, we drop them off at the hospital. We don't see the outcome, the long-term effect of what we did. In this position, we actually do see the long-term outcome, which is cool. And to me, it's nerdy, but if someone has a pothole on the road and we fix that pothole, we see the outcome then. If someone has overgrown trees that are affecting their yard and we cut the trees down, we see that effect then. If someone wants a proclamation and it brings a smile to their face and makes them feel better, and we give them that proclamation, we see the effect then. So it's been awesome. And I got into firefighting, right, because I love to help people. Politics is the same thing for me. I can just help more people at a bigger scale.
Interesting. So what would you say is your biggest challenge right now?
Biggest challenge, I would say, is creating time for the family. Like I said, as a full-time firefighter, my wife's a full-time teacher. We have 5 kids. We have 5 kids in sports starting this spring. So it is just pure chaos. So I'd say the biggest thing is scheduling time for the family. And that's what it's really come down to, because my schedule, like I said earlier, it's just, you wouldn't even want to see it. But I like to block off sections for my wife. So we go on date nights. I like to block off sections for each kid individually, because there's 5 of them and they don't usually get that one-on-one time with mom or dad. So the biggest thing is just keeping that family time, because family to me is still number one. I love firefighting. I love city council. I love being the mayor. But without my wife and my family, it's all meaningless.
I like that. I think that really speaks to kind of how you think of different things, right? Like the fact that, you're putting your family first, but you're still taking that time to make that happen, even though you are now responsible for the however many people there are in Temecula. That's insane. So kudos to you, because I could never. I could never.
You could.
I wouldn't.
Maybe by the end of this, I'll convince you to run for a seat.
I don't think so. No. I like my freedom. But I get it. I get it. So what, I want to frame this question the right way. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
That's a hard question. For me, I'm always someone who has a goal. I write down my goals and I set my goals, years in advance. When I first got on city council, my main thing was, hey, I want to fix the things that I see wrong with Temecula. But as you start to fix one problem, you start to see more problems, right? And the problem is always bigger, whether that's county, whether that's state, whether that's federal. But right now, my main thing is fixing what I see needs to be fixed in Temecula. And what happens after that, I'm not sure. But so right now, I'm just focusing on the city of Temecula. I'm focusing on my position as mayor, my career as a firefighter, and being a father and a husband. So where I see myself in 5 to 10 years, I couldn't even tell you. I take it one day at a time. I'm enjoying the city council seat. It's been great for me, been great for my family, and hopefully great for the city of Temecula.
Okay, beautiful. So if there's one thing you would want the people of Temecula to know about you, what is it?
I want them to know that I'm extremely approachable. And I think that's a big thing with elected officials this day and age, is they seem so out of touch with the everyday person. And to me, I am you. I'm a firefighter. I have a full-time job. A lot of politicians are lifetime career politicians. They don't have a small business. They never had a real job. Where me, I'm different in that aspect, where I have a full-time job. I have a full-time family. I have things that make me just like everyone else. You know, I'm not a multi-millionaire.
Right.
You can relate to me. Not only can you relate to me, you can approach me. You know,
Right.
I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, I have Threads now. I'm getting all these new social media apps, but you can contact me anyway, and I always respond. So I think the biggest thing for me is that you have someone that is the mayor and on city council that wants to help you, wants to listen to you, and is here for you. And while I'm in this, you know, this term is 4 years. I'll rerun in 2 years from now in 2026, the same position. But while I'm in this seat, I want to help you. And regardless of what your issue is, like I said, if it's a road, if it's a tree, if it's something going on at the schools, if a crosswalk needs to be put in, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I want to do.
Now, you mentioned small businesses. What is your experience with small business?
So me and my wife, we had a small business. It was Temecula's Little Bread Company. We started that right after COVID, like we're actually mid-COVID. And it was a little cottage food operation, so we did it out of the house. My wife actually worked at one of the people's favorite restaurants in Temecula, the Goat and Vine and the Nightingale. So she was the kitchen manager and the head baker there. And her bread was always amazing. Goat and Vine has the best bread. But a lot of the thing, you know, the great thing about the bread is the person behind the bread making it.
Right.
And that was my wife. And I said, hey, like, you have a skill, you have a talent, we should do this. So we went full bore. You know, we had the Temecula's Little Bread Company. So we had that small business. We had it for a few months, and then it got so busy. We were going in wineries and restaurants where she was pregnant with our 5th kid at the time, where we kind of said, hey, time out. Let's have the last kiddo, and then we'll figure it out. So we closed down that small business, but it was a great experience, you know, just to learn the ins and outs of small businesses, to learn all the things that California affects small businesses, all the extra taxes and all that stuff that they have. But it was a great experience for us.
I think that's quite important because Temecula thrives off of the small businesses. So to know that you've had that experience is beautiful. Now, tell me a little bit about the relationships that you've built with the local small businesses.
Yep. So and one of my big thing, right? I have 112-ish thousand constituents, but the small business community is huge to me. And I love when we see like the Press Espresso, we see the Crafted Scone, we see, you know, all these little mom and pop coffee shops compared to a Starbucks. No offense to Starbucks, but I love seeing the homegrown businesses. So I try to reach out to all the businesses, especially in Old Town's, you know, one of the biggest small business areas in Temecula. So I like to talk to all the businesses. I like to build those relationships. And I've probably sat down, not like this one-on-one, but I've sat down with a lot of the small businesses in Temecula just to hear what they say. You know, is Temecula doing everything that we can to make your job easiest? For a small business and businesses in general, I feel like government should be more hands-off. Let them succeed, let them do or fail, right, but on their own. So when I hear, you know, hey, this is great, but Temecula is affecting our business X, Y, or Z way, then I'm like, time out. We need to put a hold on that, and we need to figure out how to fix this to make it easiest for our businesses. So like I'm saying, small business to me is huge, especially in our Old Town district. Without those small businesses, those mom and pop shops, it changes. It changes the atmosphere. And if we don't have those, we don't have the Old Town that we know and love.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, but I want you to take a moment, okay? Tell Temecula one thing that you want them to know. What's one message that you have for all of Temecula, besides being approachable?
I love that. I think the one message that I would have for Temecula is that I love Temecula. And I'm here for the long term. This is, like I said, I was born and raised here. I left for about 6 or 7 years. But this is home, and this is home not only for me, it's home for my 5 kids. And every decision I make with the forethought that how is this going to affect the future generation? You know, hey, that may be best right now, but what does that look like in the future? And that one of the hardest things about city council and the policy decisions we make is we don't see the outcome for years. Right. And we can say, hey, we approve this development. That development may not be developed for a decade, 2 decades. So how is that going to affect the future population? So I think the one message is that I love Temecula. Every decision I make is for Temecula and for the future generations that are going to be, you know, born and raised here.
Wow. Well, you guys heard it straight from the mayor's mouth. He loves you. Okay, Brenden, you mentioned being approachable. What is the best way for people to reach out to you?
People can reach out to me. I have a Facebook and Instagram. Those are probably the 2 easiest ways. Anything city related, I always say, hey, I appreciate you reaching out on these social media apps, but please email me. So my email, brenden.kalfus@temeculaca.gov. Okay. But again, the best way you can reach me is probably Instagram or Facebook. And then if it's city related, I'll just directly direct you to my email.
Thank you so much, Brenden. Again, my name is Portia Mystique Steele, Editor-in-Chief of The Hidden Vine. And until next time.